When you look at the autumn statement, what was your big takeaway?
I'm a bit confused, to be honest, Fran. I think you need to get some more of your really policy and data-driven economists on to delve further. It's one of those budgets where I think it's a little bit dangerous to jump to an instant verdict because there's quite a lot going on and being said. So the Chancellor, for example, again this morning, as he made a big deal out of yesterday, was saying his measures have been estimated by the OBR to boost growth by an accumulated 0.5% in the spring and yesterday, implying trend. And I can see why, because I think the investment tax allowance is being made permanent is a very welcome and sensible move, given the UK's woeful investment position. However, if you really delve into the book that goes with the statements and you quiz around, the OBR has actually reduced its trend growth forecast by about 1/10. And I'm not really sure how the two marry, although it might be, hence you getting more people on, something to do with the real oddity of, in between the spring budget and this one, of course, the ONS revised up the amount of GDP by 3% that they didn't think was there before. So the OBR probably thinks there isn't much capacity left in the economy either. But all that aside, which I think is really important stuff for the medium to long term, especially as to whether we can get inflation down permanently, it's a budget that's aimed at Tory principles and unifying the Tory party ahead of the election. And it's leaving grave challenges for public spending for whoever is in power going forward, as you implied with your comments.
But Jim, so basically, I mean, we understand that this package of policies, A, would try to pull out the UK out of stagnation. So A, does it if it's successful, and two, it's also trying to draw this clear dividing line with the opposition Labour Party as we get into the election year. Does that do the job?
Well, interestingly, on the latter, if I've seen the bits I've had chance to of what the opposition frontbench has said, quite sensibly, they agree with the investment tax cut allowance. And I think that's interesting politically, but it's also good because, as I've discussed with you many times before, the UK has a really dreadful position on the level of investment spending. And to prioritise trying to boost investment spending in the UK should be a priority for any sensible government going forward. Where there is some water between them is, I think, on the welfare and spending side. And obviously the Tories have introduced a more traditional Tory, tougher principle on that with what was announced yesterday. As to whether it will work on growth, I mean, just as halving inflation was really all the efforts of the Bank of England and external forces, what is going to happen to the growth performance the next 2 years is largely going to continue to be influenced by those similar things. If inflation were to fall faster to 2%, then the rise in real disposable incomes that would come through would be stronger, that of course would help the consumer. And if investment spending is picking up, then there's a chance growth could be cyclically stronger than they're saying. But against that, and I think I picked up something about a 5% energy cap increase coming in January. If we have further significant cost of living increases being brought in, then there won't be any real scope for consumers to feel better off. So it's not obvious to me that there's a major boost one can be confident to about growth in the near term from this. Although, again, going back to my underlying theme, very important things, including some more areas of devolved policies, such as Hull and the East Riding, and centrally to a lot of what I'm involved in, there was bigger powers given to the British Business Bank to be in the centre of a more expansive role of getting pension fund money into the venture capital space and high growth private space. And I think for the longer term, that is really important for the UK.